All right, welcome. Good morning, sales team. Today, what we're going to really be working on is how to sell, how to close. The way that we're going to get there is by mastering only 3 frameworks that can be used to simplify selling any product to anybody for any reason whatsoever. The reason this system works is because you're only building a framework on what problem they have, what solution that you provide, what value it brings to them, and the cost to value ratio. Step 2 is working on our conviction framework. And conviction framework essentially means one thing only. You care more about fixing their life than they care about fixing their own life. You care more about them succeeding than they care about succeeding. If you genuinely want their best interest in mind, they will crack and you will spot the weaknesses and the fallacies in their own argument. And they will go, shit, you're totally right. You actually want this for me more than I want it for myself. You're helping me more than I help myself. You're providing me a solution. I'm sabotaging my own progress. So when we get our conviction right, they enjoy trusting us to do what's in their best interest. So step 2, conviction, is letting them understand that we care more about their best interest than even they care. Step 3 is working on scaling those 2 processes. There's only one way to scale: repetition, repetition, repetition. There's only one way to scale. Be consistent. Learn from your mistakes, continue to do and do more of what works, learn what didn't work, find another option for a solution to fix it, implement that change, see if that change solved the problem, and then scale the solution. Okay, so there's only 3 steps ever in this. The steps are closer, conviction, and scaling. Closer is nothing but an acronym. Y'all can hear my phone going crazy. That's because in real time, at this time of the day, before noon, other people try to reach out to me. Busy life. Here we go. Closer framework is an acronym. The C stands for one type. The L stands for another, the O, the S, the E, the R, okay? The way that that's going to break down, memorize this. This is your sales Bible. This is your everything. If you learn closer, you can also do 40,000 sales in 2 years, right? This is the framework to do $100 million, 4,000 sales a year, 4,000 closes by yourself. This is the framework. And not only has it worked here, but it's literally worked for 40,000 other people as well. Okay. Learning this is the only thing that you really need to learn. Everything else is icing on the cake. It's supplementary. This is the core. Here's why this works. When you clarify, all you're doing is letting them explain to you exactly what their problem is, what they're running away from, what they are running towards, what was the pain that the problems, what was the pleasure that they're running towards. Now, we know in the insurance world, it's pretty consistent. They had bad leads. They had not enough leads. They hate dialing for some reason. They hate prospecting and code calling. Or the pleasure is always two things. They want more sales and they want those sales to become more profitable. We know everything about our target audience. Their pain will always be the leads they get are crap. They get some leads, but they don't get enough to be consistent and regular. Or they get a lot of leads and they're good leads, but they're sitting on the phone dialing 10 hours a day, 40 hours a week, dialing, prospecting, scheduling. And that only leaves them with running appointments like after a 40-hour week of dialing. So they dial 10 hours on Monday, they dial 10 hours on Tuesday, they run appointments on a Wednesday, they dial 10 more hours on a Thursday, they dial 10 more hours on a Friday, then they finally get to run appointments on Saturday, Sunday. They're running 60 hours, 70-hour weeks, but 30 hours is running appointments, 40 hours is dialing. So they hate it. They hate that ratio. Okay, it's always the same, no matter what. So if we solve their leads problem and we do all the dialing for them and all they get is booked appointments, the only thing left on those booked appointments is can they close the deal and how much do they make? How profitable is that sale? Here's what we need from clarification. I want to hear their backstory inside of the clarification. I want to hear the backstory so that I can label their problem down to 1, 2, or 3 words only. I don't want to have a paragraph worth of problem. I want to label it one thing. Do they have a leads problem? They need better lead generation systems, right? They just need somebody that knows how to go out on social media and give them exclusive leads. Okay. They have too many leads, but they don't have enough resources to call, vet, prospect, qualify, schedule the appointments. So they have a CRM problem. That's it. They only have, there's always those two things. They either have bad leads, not enough, or they have good leads, the right amount, but they spend too much time doing the agency level stuff or the office level stuff that they don't actually get to do the sales. So we need to simplify that when we label their problem. Are they dealing with a leads problem? Do they need more appointments? Do they need more sales? Right? Everything is, do they need more appointments? Do they need more sales? Okay. How do you know a person needs more appointments? They simply tell you, I am given leads and I call those 10 leads, they're free leads or whatever, and I run out of leads, but I'm sitting in the office all week long and I'm twiddling my thumb and I have nothing else to do. Once I've called my 50 leads for the week and nobody's bought anything, all I can do is call the same 50 leads or go back to last week's leads, call my old leads and go backwards and call my older leads and then go backwards and call the first leads that I've ever had. So I've got thousands of old leads that I've already called 1,000 times, 2,000 times, and now I'm just continuing to try to call my old leads. So I have an appointment problem. I don't have legitimate good appointments. Okay. Or they have a good number of leads and it's the right leads, but they can't convert leads to sales in a short enough time period because they're spending 40 hours building appointments and 30 hours making sales. So if we could get them to doing 70 hours of sales and 0 hours of qualification or booking appointments, that solves their problem. So we're always thinking, do they have a sales problem or an appointments problem? The only other thing that is a reason why they're not winning is if they have a low commissioning structure and they're just not going to be profitable enough because they make 30% commissioning. So that means if they sell $1,000 policy, they get paid $300 on that policy, but they don't get all $300 up front either. They only get the first 9 months of that. So go ahead and take 2/3 of that away. That means they get $200 off writing $1,000 policy. So if I tell them that you've got a $500 a day expense and you're only getting $200 per policy, well, you've got to sell 3 policies, make $600, or you can't even do it. So if you're not closing 3 appointments a day, you can't afford our system. And there's absolutely nothing I can do to help you. As much as I want to help you, it's impossible for me to help you because your commissioning is too low. Okay. So if they're not profitable enough, they have a commission rate problem. Now, we don't generally offer a commission rate solution. We just simply acknowledge, hey, it's probably not a good fit. Go to our Facebook group where you can network with other people and, find out a way to increase your commissioning, right? So we work on that. But the labeling their problem, I want to get it down to a very simple thing: sales, appointments, profit. We're always trying to decide, is it a sales problem, an appointments problem, or a profit problem? Okay. Here's where it truly, truly matters. Listening to them in the overview process and allowing them to explain by asking them deeper questions so that you can fall back on your labeling and fall back on your clarification by restating a story that they've told you. Once you know the CLO, C-L-O, never talk about what you do, never talk about your solution, never talk about what you're going to do for them, never talk about benefits, programs, pricing at all until you absolutely are 1000% sure that you have clarified why they're there, what brought them there today, that you've labeled them in a quick and easy label that they agree with. Okay. If you say to them, it sounds like you have an appointments problem, and they say, no, I don't. Well, then somewhere in your clarification process, you missed what their actual problem was. If you say to them, it sounds like you have a profitability problem, and they say, no, I don't, then you haven't left the clarification step and labeled their problem correctly to get to the overview. Okay. And you can't skip steps here. You have to perfectly get the clarification so that you can label it accurately. And they've got to agree with the label so that you can overview it and use the overview as your benchmark for all referencing. Only after this can you sell them the vacation. Selling the vacation is one simple thing only. When you sign up with us today, we solve 100% of the problem you have, and it is more profitable to use us than it is not to. That's the vacation. What we don't do in a vacation is tell them, here's how much work you're going to have to do. Here's how many processes and steps that we've got to go through. Here's all the things that it takes in order for us to have a successful campaign for you, a successful anything for you. Make it simple. We do it all for you. All you got to do is choose yes. That's all you have to do. Choose yes. The value of choosing yes is solving all your problems and you end up with more money. You get more time, more money. We solve all your problems. More time, more money. We do all the work. It's always the vacation for everybody, everywhere. It's always the vacation. Then this is the objection period. They are going to object. Expect it. They have to object. It's not reasonable that they won't object. When they object, we have got to perfect the art of telling a story that overcomes their objection. And eventually, and I'll work on this, and I know that this is something we've got to work on. Eventually, I'm going to give you the top 3 stories that you can rehearse to overcome appointments, overcome sales, overcome value. And everything will become one of those 3 stories. All you'll have to do is reference 3 stories for the future. Those 3 stories will get you back to selling them the vacation. Okay. So if this was an arrow or a ladder, it's like you're climbing a mountain. This is the bottom of the mountain, and you're climbing up the mountain, labeling it, and you're climbing up to the peak. You're halfway there when you overview. And then once you get to the sale, you are at the summit. You're at the top of the mountain. You have a flagpole in your hand, and you're ready to anchor that flagpole on the mountain and conquer it. And then they say, well, explain something to me before I let you conquer me. And so you're sitting there holding this flagpole in your hand, and you cannot set it down until you've overcome that objection. You're always going to get an objection. You're always going to overcome an objection. It's just part of life. It's normal. Get used to it. Get comfortable with it. Make it your best friend. If you cannot overcome the objection by a story, you have to go back down the mountain and find out where you last left off, so that you can get them back up the mountain together with you. You have to carry them up the mountain with you. Okay. So you explained a story, and then right when you explain that story, you pivot to restating the overview. And that overview is the summary in which they've conceded to already. If that overview is not compelling, you've got to go back and understand why that label wasn't strong enough and restate the label. If you cannot restate that label, then you go back to, well, maybe I missed what your pain was. Maybe I missed what your pleasure was. Maybe I missed what the goal was. I thought your goal was to get more sales, more appointments, and to become more profitable. What is it that I got wrong about you needing more sales, more appointments, more profitable? You've tried this, it didn't work. You've tried the other thing, and that didn't work. You've done this for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, and you've only got to this point. If you keep doing it the same way and get the same results, how are you ever going to get to your dream? How are you ever going to accomplish where you wanted to be if you can't do the one change that gets you there? See, you absolutely joined this sales meeting today because you want the one change that you didn't have before here. And I'm giving you the vacation, right? I will fix this problem that you told me you have with this solution that I provide. It is this much value and profitable and will cover any costs and expenses to get there. I do 99% of the work. Help me understand what I've missed that you're still concerned about. And then you go back into that loop until they eventually agree you've clarified their pain pleasure correctly, you've labeled it correctly, you've overviewed their traumas, past experiences, you've made sure to sell the vacation where it's more value than cost and it's easier than hard. And then you've told them the story of how it worked for everyone else. And they're like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm just scared. Cool. Okay, well, let's talk through scared. Okay, so when do we start explaining the program? When do we start explaining what it does for them and how it works and why it works the way that it does? After we take their money, they care. I can tell you a million bells and whistles, and you don't really remember it until you've paid your money and I onboard you the next day and I give you the reinforcement of that decision. Okay. I bring you in, I walk you through how it works, why it works the way that it works, and reinforce your decision with proof in real time. So we're to get somebody to focus on how a system works before the sale is generically it is, doctor, can you please explain to me how heart surgery works before I accept a heart surgery appointment with you? I just need to know, is it a grade 2 scalpel or a grade 3 scalpel? And which forceps will you be using? Is it a left hand or a right hand incision that you'll be making? How many nurses are in the room and which anesthesia? It's like nobody questions a pilot. Pilot, can you please explain to me what your sleep was last week and that you've got your tire pressure monitored and that you've passed all your checklists and performance reviews before I get on this airplane with you? There is just a trust system there that you trust that it works. And so we're trying to build trust during the clarification, label, and overview step. And this goes back up to what conviction looks like, right? Conviction is, I believe the tone of your voice. There's something about the way that you talk to me that makes me trust you as a human being, that makes me believe you want my best interest in mind, that you care enough about me for me to trust you. I don't really understand the performance of the product yet, but I trust you and others have also trusted you. And the other people that trusted you have got the results, right? So the other people that have trusted you is the stories that we tell, right? When we're involved in explaining away their concerns, we don't explain away their concerns with product overview. We explain away their concerns with, let me tell you the last person that had that concern and the results that they've enjoyed since joining us. Right? And I know that I can reference 2 weeks ago, Margaret came in here and Margaret said, Travis, I want appointments. Travis, I need appointments. I said, okay, Margaret, we're going to get you appointments. Travis, I need training. Travis, I need training. Travis, I need appointments. I said, okay, Margaret, we're going to help you. Travis, here's my money. Build me something now. I said, okay, Margaret. Took the money, onboarded her, and then Margaret had 19 appointments on her calendar in the first 3 days. She's in this meeting right now. Margaret had 19 appointments on her calendar in the first 3 days. And she's managing 20 appointments on her calendar and 40 people total. And she's got $22,000 worth of opportunity in her calendar in the first week that she launched. So when I'm telling a story, I'm saying I personally know that Margaret came to us a week ago and said, I need appointments. And we said, cool, pay this weekly amount. Here's appointments. And she's now got 20 appointments and 40 people in her pipeline. I know that a month ago, Derek Kozlowski came in and he said, Travis, I got $4,000. What can I do with it? I said, we'll build you a recruiting page to sell F100. He said, well, how much do you think we'll make? And I said, $500,000. He's like, I'll take $4,000 and you'll make me $500,000 back. I said, yeah. He goes, do it. So we launched, and overnight he had 11 appointments. By the end of the week, he had 43 appointments. By the end of the next week, he had 80 appointments. We're 3 weeks in, we're 21 days in. He had 121 appointments on his calendar and $700,000 worth of opportunity. He said, Travis, I can't take this many appointments. I need you to go find people that need money and build a sales team for me right away. I can't do it. I'll give them money to sell my leads, to close my leads that I bought. I had no idea it would be this big, this fast. I said, okay, Derek, I will go out to PP 100 people and I will see if there's anybody that is waiting to make sales and that they're available immediately to just come here, learn how to close, learn how to sell, and make $1,200 per appointment, a 1 hour appointment, and just make $1,200 a day, 5 days a week, $7,000 a week, $28,000 a month. And they put $0 into the system and got a $28,000 month, got a $300,000 year. As long as they know how to close, as long as they know how to sell, they can make $300,000 with your $4,000 starter money. He goes, and I make money off of them? I said, yeah, you'll make $600 off everything they sell. So if they go out and they sell your 500 people, that's $300,000 to you, and you made them money as well. He goes, you just built me $1 million business and you did it in a week. I said, that's what we do. This is what our value is to the world. Brother, here's my money. And everybody in this room right now is a product of the $4,000 that Derek spent a month ago, right this very minute. Proof. This is real story with real people. So that's what we do when we explain away their concerns. Okay. So what it actually looks like when you're practicing, I am going to now go through a real demonstration live in real time so that we can perfectly match out this, how to use it.